Hey everyone, welcome to the Do the Thing podcast. This is your host, Stacey Lauren. Well, you guys, it's been so cool because I've been doing a lot of adventures lately. And one of the most recent ones was going to Necker Island through Richard Branson's, I think it was an initiative called Gathering for Good. And it was really amazing getting to meet all the people there. One of which I'm going to have you guys meet today. But it was so cool to get to meet her because she was photographing the entire event. And when you get to see how somebody is in action with people as they're being gathered, there's just a really beautiful way to see how they're seeing the world. And we got into some really cool conversations also while I was there. And I was just so excited to bring her on and hear her do the thing story and have you guys meet her as well. So I am welcoming Asia to the show. Hello.
Hello. Hi. Oh my gosh. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Okay, so let's start there. Tell everyone how you're feeling right now. And is this your first podcast interview?
Ever. Yes. Isn't Paris but ever. And I'm inside of me, something is like, what are you doing? Why do you say this? Anyway, I'm so excited and honored to be here with you. Thank you for inviting me.
And it's something we talked about, just so you guys know, before we got on. I was like, oh man, it's so cool because when you're nervous, anyone listening that maybe hasn't done a podcast yet could be like, oh, okay, she was nervous. And then maybe hearing that process could help them go on a podcast. Because this is one of the things I tell people all the time is by going on podcasts, starting a podcast, it just gets to open up another side of you by being able to meet people that are doing really cool stuff. And we've talked about this before. As introverts, it is a really kind of fun way to connect because it's like you're not doing superficial conversation. It's like we're going deep and there's almost an understanding of that so you don't burn as much energy. But anyway, I'd love to have you maybe share why you said yes to doing the thing and coming on the podcast, and then anything else from there. We'll go.
I'm still trying to discover why I said yes. I mean, I was actually asking, like, why did you invite me? No. I mean, yes, we haven't shared great chemistry from the beginning. It was like, what is she thinking by inviting me? And I go mess up so badly. But yeah, I mean, since I found out about your podcast and it was such an interesting topic. Sometimes we can learn, we can try to get it right, but it's just do it. Yes, just do the thing. And it was like sometimes people just look for nice, cool name, but you just do the name, do the thing. That's it. No, no more fancy names. And from the beginning, you got me at the name. Like, let's start there. You got
I love it. That's great. So, yeah, I'd love to have you share your story. What do you think has been kind of the journey that would be good to be able to talk about? So, tell us who you are, what you're doing in the world, and all the good stuff.
Well, a photographer, I take photographs. I said, I take photographs. I love photographing people. And yes, I love photographing people. I love looking, observing, and I had the honor that life allowed me to make a living out of this. So these days we try to make everything fancy and we want to say, okay, I'm an artist, and which we all are, independently of how we channel our art. But I didn't get into photography looking for art, actually. I got into photography looking for making a living and providing for two small kids. And it was just an accident. I was definitely doing other things. I was managing stores and resorts at the beach. So it was totally not related with this. And I was being nosy and I was criticizing some photograph from someone, and someone asked me, "Do you think you can do better?" And I was like, "You bet I can do better." But at this point, I have never had any kind of camera in my hands, and it's like some photographers has this cool stories, right? About, oh, my grandpa has this old camera, and or I grew up looking this old photographs, and everybody has a very inspiring story. But in my case, for example, I do not have any of this kind of stories. Like my grandma, I come from a very, I mean, remember that English is not my first language. Sometimes my vocabulary gets short. But resuming, my mom, I don't have photos of me as a child. I don't have any photo of me before my 20s. My mom doesn't have any photo of her. I don't know how my mom looked when she was a kid. My grandpa, I don't have any photo of any one of my family before. So I don't have any of that. And it's coming from there, how do you end it here? But it kind of makes sense now. I don't have them, but I'm more appreciative of these moments for people. And so maybe sometimes it's not judging how photography behaves sometimes and how people are trying to pretend for photos. For me, I'm very appreciative of the things as they are happening because I don't have any of those.
Yeah.
So I see just something real, emotional, something that moves me. Like what is insignificant for others, for me, is something that moves me because I don't have any of those. So I was like, you have to have this. And sometimes people are like, they don't know. And then they see this, oh my gosh, look at this photo. I cannot believe you got this. I love it. Yes, because these days we just forget a little bit of what is more important. And since I come from a place of not having those, I can see the value of that you will see when you have them in the future. I don't know if what I said made any sense. Just warping words. So
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I get the deep meaning behind it because you grew up without having any photos of your family. And then you also didn't have photos. And now, oh my gosh, here you are. You're getting to capture those moments and those memories for people because of that feeling that resonate with you. So I think that's really beautiful.
yeah, another event, the event that was at Necker Island right before the one where you met, I was just doing my work. I love watching people. You are doing your thing, and I'm just looking how you guys spark when someone says something or those faces. I sometimes say, oh, this is a beautiful photo, but I don't think she will appreciate her mouth going like that because she's so excited about it. And sometimes I do not deliver some of those and this kind of events. But for example, I got this portrait. It was a very normal portrait. And I was definitely not expecting to go to my Google My Business and see that one of the attendees to this Nicaraguan event, she found my page and she let me review there talking about a particular portrait that I took. And she was not talking about the experience of work of the whole event. She was talking about a particular portrait that I took of her and her son the beach. For me, it was just like, I'm doing my thing. And this moment is like, let me get it. And I put it in the gallery. And she just went to my website to leave a review about this portrait. That for me was like, sometimes what for you is just something normal. For someone, it means a lot. So yeah, I'm kind of so honored to be able to do what I do.
Yeah, when you get to capture those special moments, and especially when the person is able to be all in on the experience and they don't even think about the photo, right? Because they're so all in that moment. And then to know that someone captured it, that's so beautiful.
Yes.
Tell us more about the business. So as you've built this photography business, so you originally were not thinking of doing photography, but then you saw a photo and you were like, oh, I could do better than that. And then someone sounds like they dared you. I like dare. So I'm just going to say that kind of dared you to do it on your own.
Yeah, I mean, what is like, yes, following with this story about someone telling me you can do better, you bet I can do better. It was something that I thought it was just a joke and it was staying there. And then a few days later, this same person, he gave me a camera. It was a borrowed camera and he gave me a photography manual that he downloaded from the internet. And he told me, prove me you can do better. And I was like, at this point, I have no idea about what to do with this camera. It was DSLR camera, Canon 6D, I think I remember. And I just took the challenge, but I just put it there and I was like, okay, so this says that I turn it on here. I put the lens. It was for me something very, I don't know what I'm doing here. But the thing is that in less than a few months later, I got to work with this company. They were doing elopements for tourists at the beach, symbolic things. And they have this older thing. If you're coming to the DR and you have your fiancé and you want to do something crazy and you guys escape to the island and they arrange everything from you, they pick you up to your hotel and take you to this beach and he just have to bring you fiance and your dress, and they provide everything else. So I started working with them. And I mean, they let me watch a few of those elopements, and they show me the photographs that the photographers did for these elopements. And I was supposed to do the same, right? And then I get, okay, I can do it. Let's do this. And I get to take my photograph, and I started doing whatever I feel to. I see there, I focus on their faces, I focus on their expressions, I focus on things that were definitely not within the portfolio of this company. And then first wedding, they said, no, this is a mess. You cannot do that. You have to do things with following a script. And after the done, you have to do poses, very specific poses. And then they edit in a very specific way with very oversaturated colors. I don't know how to call it right now. And then second wedding, okay, they gave me a second shot. And again, I know I will do the thing how they tell me. I get my camera, and I just get everything, and I just get into the moment. I do the thing, whatever comes to my mind, I do it. They didn't give me a chance for the third one. They told me, you have no talent. I was fired at the moment because with them I have no talent at all. So that was my first experience working as a photographer.
Wow. Wait, I have to stay there for a minute because that is so cool because you are finding your voice in your photography and you're seeing what they maybe don't see yet in their perfect view of whatever they were looking. And you're like, this is what I'm envisioning. And so it's literally, it feels like hearing you talk about it, it's like pouring out of you with what it was you wanted to create. And I love that you were in this box of this is what I need to do.
But the thing is that I was not like, I was my intention was to what they told me to do. It was just the camera gave into my hands, and my brain just connected to the camera. And it was just the camera and my brain has a channel to each other, and they didn't care about instructions or anything else. So definitely not that. But anyway, moving forward, I found a second job as a photographer. This time it was at a tourist again at a resort. It was, I don't know if you, in those Caribbean resorts, there are those photo shops, yes, where you go and you take the photos, and the photographers just are taking that. So my manager, it was a great Argentinian guy, and he noticed that I was terrible with anything poses, and he used to tell me, go to the pool, go to the kids' pool, and just photograph whatever you like. And then I photographed the kids at the pool, and then the parents would see me taking photos of the kids, and then they would come to the photo shop at night and see whatever I took, and if they like anyone, they would buy the photo that they liked. And everybody was coming and they were buying the photos I took with the kids because were the kids being kids and meeting new friends. It was very, very, for me, it was magic, and they liked it. And I was absolutely surprised. And I was like, oh my gosh, they like it. I can't believe it. But you mouth into this thing. The owner of the photo shop comes to the hotel. And I come back from a photo shoot that I had with this couple. It was a couple in their 50s. And they were these kind of couples that have been married forever, but they are sexy. They are so into each other. They have this crazy chemistry. They look at each other and they kind of glow. And she was I don't know, coqueta. And she was so flirty. And he was like, all the time melting for her. And I was just taking photos of them for an hour. And I said, okay, we're done. I'll see you guys at the photo shop tomorrow or something. I got to the photo shop with my camera in my hands. I was so proud. I felt that this was the best experience of my life. I couldn't believe it. I mean, I said, this is my dream come true. And the owner of the photo shop is there. And he's like, oh, you're Asia. Okay. Hi, nice to meet you. Can I see your photos? And I'm like, of course, after this photo shoot, I was like, oh my God, he's gonna see how good I am. And he see my photos and he started like moving to the camera, like, oh, they're really natural. Okay, good. And then at the end, he handled the camera back to me and he told me, I think maybe you should take a list of poses that you can take for the next photo shoot. The poses that people really buy at the end of the day. And I look at him and I look at the photos, and I was looking at the photos and I really like these photos. And I said, okay, yeah, maybe I will do for the next time. I remember I went home and I sent my resignation card letter that night, and I never came back to this place. I mean, that was the worst offense of my life.
Oh my gosh. So it's like you're finding your way, right? But you're figuring out who you want to work with and who you don't, because it's like you want to come from this alive place inside of you and not have to follow a specific set of guidelines that people think you need to do.
Exactly. And that was the second and last time I tried to work for anyone else. I said, what? Things my way. If it doesn't work, I will go back to managing the stores. It's okay, but I will give it a try to do things my way. I just got some of these photos that I did at the pool, and I opened. I remember that night I opened my Facebook page, Asia Pimentel Photography, and I post some of these photos that I had taken at the pool. Mostly were some kids with nothing crazy. And I remember that less than 1 or 10 days, 1 week or 10 days later, someone contacted me because they were looking for a photographer in Punta Cana. And that was it.
Wow.
I just, every photo shoot I came back, I put it on this Facebook page, and people started contacting me all the time. And that rest is history.
Wow. So, okay. So wait, this is so do the thing, right? Because I think a lot of people, even at the first job, they didn't like it and then they ended up firing you or whatever it was. That could have been the moment that you could have said, okay, yeah, this isn't cut out for me. This isn't my thing. I'm gotten into even self-deprecating kind of thoughts, right? And then instead you went and got another job, and then something similar happened. And like, instead of making it mean something of, oh, I'm not good at this or whatever it is, you're like, no, I don't need you guys. I'm going to start my own business. And then you started a Facebook page. And now all of a sudden, now people are attracting to you based on who you are, because you are special with what you're offering the world, because it's coming from inside of you and your creativity is flowing and people are getting attracted to that. How cool is this? This is so cool.
Yeah, some days I'm just, when everything feels hard, it's like, why it felt so easy at the beginning. It was not that it's easy, but why it was so easy at the beginning for me to take the decisions. And now, before I take any business decision, it felt so hard. Also, what if I'm doing the wrong thing? What people will feel for me doing this? If I post this, what people will say about me? But at the beginning, I was just doing the things because I didn't know anyone and I didn't care. I'm doing this. I don't even not remember what I was really saying. I was just doing the thing. I think I wasn't thinking at all.
I actually have that whole thing I call Find Your Voice. I run this challenge and I actually am now licensing it to other people to run it. And what it is it helps people to tap into that, which is do the thing, right? How do you do the thing? It's like you can't overthink it. You can't overplan it. You can't over prepare it. You're just following your own guidance, right? And seeing what the universe, God, all of that has open for you. And then you start to be able to walk without going, should I? Or could I? Or can't I? And that's what you're doing. You're just following that flow of who you are at the core. You're really tapped in. Whereas I think a lot of people, when they get into the space where you had this fork in the road, then that's where the kind of the mental chatter comes in, right? Of why you can't do it and maybe even have quit. But instead you're like, no, I'm opening up my own thing.
Yep. That was a little crazy. And at the beginning, it was their families because I was posting photos of kids. And then, I don't know, someday a crazy person just asked me about an elopement, but it was not in the frame of this kind of elopements. And I just went there and did whatever I wanted. And I was shaking when I delivered because in my voice, in my head, I was just listening to, you don't have talent for this. So I thought they were going to hate it. And they loved it. And I was like, okay, this has to be proven. And here I am. It's been 13 years since that day.
Wow. Okay, so walk us through that. So then you started, was it a Facebook page? And then you posted and said, go through that process too. Because it's so cool, because I think a lot of people think when you start a business, it has to be this huge thing where, oh, I had to pay all this money for branding and blah, 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 right? But no, you're like, I started a Facebook page and I told people what I was doing.
And remember the first job where I was fired from, they were with the borrowed camera. so, so when I got my Facebook page, I already had my first camera. And with that single only camera, one lens, one zoom lens, I did a whole year of weddings with that one. And I remember from the time from my first wedding, I charged $100. And I mean, I was taking those photography class because at this point, remember, I was totally self-taught and I wanted to feel validated somehow. And I wanted to do some photography classes in Santo Domingo. And I just found out that everything they were telling me, I already knew it because I have learned from and I have practiced, corrected myself many times. And I remember that that day I took the first bus from Santo Domingo. I mean, at 5 a.m. or something, I was in this bus. I had a fever, 60 degrees fever from the last night. I was in this bus. It was the full air conditioner. I was shaking and I had this crazy fever. I get to my wedding. I start around 9 shooting. At least still at 6 p.m. I was in this wedding. It wasn't an open, but it was a crazy event. They wanted to get into a boat. I was taking photos still at 6 p.m. on the ocean with my fever on 60 degrees. I was like dying. I remember that I went home after that and I slept 3 days straight. I didn't remember anything else. I was so sick. I did my wedding. And that was the beginning of me getting to the wedding photography. And that has been me getting into what has been my niche till today. I mean, the events for Big Unite is the first time that I have stepped out of wedding photography. It was like, sometimes I don't know why Sophie got me into this study. Yeah, she found me and she told me, I want you this. And I said, yeah, let's do this. I think it's part of another story. But yes, after that, I just get into the weddings where I moved from the elopements, then to the small weddings. I start feeling more comfortable on my skills and I start raising my prices a little bit. I remember the first time I sent a contract to a pricing guy to apply. Yes, I mean, I was doing small, very small resort wedding as a small budget weddings. And then I started feeling more confident. I started investing more on equipment and I felt like, okay, I can do this. I think I can do this, definitely. And I remember one day I was feeling adventurous and I did this present guide and I was like, oh my gosh. And I just put this number and someone inquired and I sent that. And when I sent that, I was like, why did I send that? What did I think about? This is upset. And this person answered back, okay, we're in, let's meet. Because I always ask people after, let's meet before anything else. That's from the beginning, I have always needed to connect personally with people. I am an introvert. I can't get to a wedding without knowing with the person face to face. I would just tell them freeze. So for me, it's very important to know what am I doing, with who will I be talking there. Yeah. So this person said yes, and I was like, is she this is red okay? This is red currently. I was like, oh my gosh, what is this? Anyway, I felt like when she signed that contract, I felt like a millionaire. Like, I know. It sounds weird, but I'm just trying to be honest here.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. Yeah.
Sometimes I look back. Sometimes I have today people who paid me for one wedding, what many of the women on my mother's side have never done on their whole lives working. Their whole lives working hard.
Yeah.
And so for me, doing this when you don't have anyone to look up to, like, okay, she did it, so I can do it. It's been like a walking up, but it's been like, okay, who did it like me? Who in my side? Which one of the women of my family has done anything like this? And I sometimes like, what do you think you can do it if they couldn't? It's a very interesting race. It's a race against a race against, but it's also a race against my inner limitations. So it's a whole fight most of the time. And yes, and that's why when I feel proud, I feel proud.
Oh my gosh, it's so huge. Yeah, because so many people would have already given up, right? Or gotten stuck in that job where people are telling you what to do and then you're listening to them. Not saying jobs aren't good, you guys. I'm just making sure everyone is okay. But you want to make sure whatever it is you're doing, you're still following your inner creativity, right? Because that's where you're able to put the most out in the world. And so I love hearing also, it sounds like with the Virgin Unite job, how they became your client, they reached out to you, it sounds like. Did you know them beforehand or were they just seeing you on social media or hearing about you from other weddings?
It was interesting because I remember since the beginning, I've been moving through my career, learning. I'm always liking to see what's next. And it is also, it's not even that I don't put myself those goals. I'm trying to listen to myself and okay, what is this? And what I'm not feeling happy with this. And sometimes it's people is, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And yeah, but sometimes at some point, it started feeling like I was being dominated by the industry. I was not really seeing myself reflected on my work. And it was beautiful to the industry standards. But for me, it feels like something of me is missing there. My work starts feeling like a lot of other photographers' work. And I was like, what is missing here? And at this point, I had made a good name. Everybody was loving me. I was fully booked the whole year. And I remember that on Christmas 2022, yes, I remember at midnight, it was New Year, midnight. And my kids went out. We had dinner. The kids went out to party with their friends. And I was just the dog and me and the tree. And I just sat on the floor and I was just trying to meditate, especially because I wanted to calm my dog because he was getting crazy with all the fireworks going around. And I just tried to sit there. And in one moment, I just forget about everything. And I was like, I want to feel, okay, I'm here, but I feel there is something else. I feel there is a purpose to what I do. And I don't have any goals for this year. I don't have any goals. I don't have any, I just want you to show me. I don't know with who was talking. That was it. Just show me what was next for me to connect with myself. And I think in less than a few months ago, in one month or 2 months after that, I received a request to photograph for Vows for Girls, which is an organization that works to stop child marriage, all in poor countries and all around where this is still a normal practice, which is in all countries all around the world without exception. The only thing is that poor people, poor girls are in a situation of vulnerability, and they sometimes that's kind of almost like a escape. And sometimes it is not, it's a rule. But yes, I felt like this was a sign. I said, "Oh my gosh, this is a sign. This is what I asked for." And it was such a great experience for me. And it was experience that when I delivered that work and they loved it, and I was like, "Okay, now show me the next." I this is it. This is it. And then less than 1 week or 2 weeks later, Susie reached out. I mean, it wasn't Susie, it was everybody reached out because Susie told her, like, found me a photographer from the Caribbean that can work for the work that we do. And I answered to Every, and then we coordinated a call with Every and me. And that was it. I mean, after that call, everything was said and done. From that, I done like 4 or 5 events for Video Night and those sneaker gatherings. And I love it. I'm very proud of it. I mean, I know I'm doing a good job, but I also said I'm being paid to be educated in such a way. And I'm learning so much of these gatherings, and I'm getting a new perspective about life, about the future, about the possibilities, about the how it is possible to make a better world, and how money doesn't mean evil. Which, like, coming from my background, a very poor background, we grew up thinking that we like the money is this thing that we desire, but at the same time we think it is related to evil. And sometimes that's why it's so difficult many times for poor people to to get wealth, because they are torn between something that they want and they did and at the same time they fear. And this are educated me in such a way that I'm in love with this. Every time I'm expecting for the next one. I love it.
I love that. I love how it's changed your whole perception of money and how good it could do for the world, right? When you're able to think of it in that way. I actually learned it was at Necker Island at that event when I untapped this whole new fundraising model. That's really exciting. And that's what happens when you're in those spaces, right? Is you're learning about all these new different kinds of impact frameworks. And all of a sudden everything starts to connect together and you're like, oh my gosh, I know what I'm doing now. Anyway, that's the whole thing. It's exciting. Yeah. Oh my gosh, I love this so much. Wow. You really helped me tap into the part of doing the thing that is so important for people to know, which is when you get to the point where you're not thinking about it and you're just able to do it. I mean, obviously, there's times for self-reflection, there's time for pause, but when you're not getting stuck in it, then it's like you get to just keep following the path in front of you, which is really beautiful. And then all of a sudden, all these new doors start opening up, right? And you get to meet all the people along the way, which is really exciting.
Yes. But then again, some days on this, especially now, I think right now I am in this point in my career again. I think I go through this every 6 months. What else? Okay, now what's next? And especially now, I'm like, okay, so what now? And I wish I could have this hunger that I have at the beginning. It was just like I didn't care about what anything else thought. I was just for the thing. I think somehow at the beginning it was so much easy. And then sometimes I want someone to please help me find out why it is harder now when I have more resources, when I have more knowledge, when I have more contacts, when I have more people that I can reach out. Why is harder now for me to do the thing?
Yeah.
Than at the beginning.
Yeah, it's so true. I'm pulling up something because I feel like this is the perfect time for it. The thing that's so cool about what you're saying is I don't think a lot of people realize. So this is what I've spent my life understanding are these different levels to our human psychology. And it's basically through a comfort circle. And so if you see, find your voice is here. So at every level that you're at, whether you're in the introverted state of the horse or you're finding your voice or you're starting to share or monetize or movement or global reach, every time it's like, who am I? What do I want to do? And who am I that can even do this thing?
Right.
It's like, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. And you're always, at least for me, I'm always like, why are you back again? I already worked through you. I already worked through this. I don't need you back again. And then you have to remember what you did to get yourself there. I do think the time is shorter to get through it, but it's still exhausting. And so, yeah, that's the thing to understand is every level. Yeah, when I think about what you're doing now too, with being especially connected with Virgin Unite, all the stuff that you're now being exposed to, it's like now there's a whole nother level, right? With all the people and all the relationships and the mindset shifts that are happening, right? With even the money piece. And so, yeah, that's what it is. I think the dreams get bigger. And so then it's so easy to fall back into old patterns. And then you're like, wait, I can get through this.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So exciting. Well, okay. I have one more question for you. Are you ready? Okay. What is your biggest piece of advice for people on doing the thing?
I'm not sure. Like, do the thing, just do it. My feel is just do it, and it's weird. I am back at the beginning right now. I felt that way. I felt those days. I'm just have to repeat myself. Just do it. Just do it. Like last week, also I was doing this. I'm terrible at social media. I mean, I can't fuck on this it's something that terrifies me in such a way. I can't believe I'm doing this. I think I'm doing this because in this format, although I will be exposed later, but now it feels like a conversation with you. It's just you here. Maybe I will start crying when I will see it live if you post it. Yeah, goodbye. And I will really regret, okay, I should have done that, definitely. But yes, right now I'm in this point where I have to remind myself, just do the thing. Just do the thing because there is nothing else. I mean, I don't know. In my case, I'm such an overthinker. Me being an extroverted and an overthinker, it's a terrible combination. And yes, and every time I'm doing the thing and I do it and everybody loves it. And I was like, how could they love it? But anyway, they just do it. It's like we are our worst judges. Yes, right?
Yeah, it's so true. We really are. So you're basically saying to do the thing.
I know. Before I bought that, I was like, she's gonna kill me for saying that because I love it. I don't have any other words to come to my mind. Just do the thing. Because right now, this is the thing that I'm doing. Just have it. I think lately I have done a few regrettable choices, just thinking do the thing and then thinking the consequences later, and the consequences have not been great, but I couldn't know that if I didn't have done the thing.
But Sue, it's like this happened the other day. I was talking to a friend of mine who was like nervous about an event that she was doing, and she was actually at a mastermind while the event was being promoted and was concerned about it. And I was like, well, the cool thing about you doing it is you're going to learn either what didn't work, what you need to fix, what holes are going to break, or it works. And you're like, yay, they don't need me anymore. And so anyway, the point is every experience we have is so good, and it brings us closer to what we're wanting to do too.
Yeah. And also, I think I remember sometimes what I think that's my excuse to make regrettable choices. So I think there is this Sri Ravi Shankar. He has this quote that says, life will always happen in the only way how it could have happened. I don't know if I translated that right because I learned that in Spanish. So I don't know if I'm just letting that right. But I always go the only way. Like there is no what if. Like what if didn't happen. Things will happen how they are meant to happen. And they are meant to happen that way for good or for bad. But if it's whatever the result, it's to show you, right? To show you how to the strength or the way where you shouldn't have gone. I don't know. I think I'm not getting things better than this now.
Okay, please share where people can learn about you. And if they want to learn more, where should they go?
Oh, just look for Asia Pimentel Photography on Instagram. I will link it into my website, Asia Pimentel Photography. Yeah, asiapimentel.com. And yes, I'm here for anything that wants to talk and to chat and to listen a person talking about the most random things all at once, totally unrelated things. Yeah, that's me.
Oh my gosh, I love this. Oh my gosh. And this was amazing, by the way. So congratulations on your first podcast interview. You did great. It was amazing. You did the thing. You did the thing.
So, I'm the recording then I will ask you for real.
And I can't wait. I have all these podcasts and I'm like, oh my gosh, if you're interested, I'd love to connect you with some more people because I think it'll really be amazing. Yeah. So, all right, you guys, thanks so much for joining, and do the thing. Don't wait for opportunity. Create it. And hey, guys, have you checked out my Facebook group yet? Go to dothethingcollaboration.com.